Al-Sunnah was agreed upon the four madhahib: Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi, Hanbali. As for this concept that has developed recently over the last decade or a few decades, where they extended the madhabs to 8, I think people are misunderstanding what is being said here. So they add in the Zahiriya, the Ja'fariya, and all these different madhahib other than the 4. And people are telling people that, no, there's 8 valid madhabs. La, 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 la. That's not what the Zaidi, that's not what's being said. As far as Ahl-Sunnah, there are 4 madhabs. What they're saying is that these other madhahib, we don't consider them kufar. We don't take them out of Islam. But they are not madhahib of Ahl-Sunnati wal Jama'ah. Do you understand the difference? Don't be confused, because we, as somebody saying in Azhar, they teach in 8 madhabs. They are talking about that. That is true. As for the official position of Azhar, that's been for 1,000 years, is the 4 madhahib. And they saying that these other schools, the Ja'fariya, the Shia madhab of the 12 Shiites, Ja'fari madhab, the Zahiri madhab, the Zaidi madhab, and there is one more, I forget, I think it's Ibadi or something like that, from Oman. So those 4 madhahib, which would make 8, they're saying that they're Muslim, not that they're valid madhahib to follow. Ahl-Sunnah know the valid madhahib to follow are the 4 madhabs of Ahl-Sunnah. Why? Because these madhahib reached us with an unbroken chain of narration. So be careful of that deception. It's sad that people are not intellectually honest. And the books of the scholars of Azhar are clear as the sun on a noonday in this issue. Clear, clear, clear. Very clear. So understand the difference between the two. And that's why when the scholars made this in Jordan, when they made, as Prince Ghazi made that conference and wrote that that treatise on these schools, and that paper that they all signed and agreed, it was saying that we don't consider them kuffar. Not that these are valid madhahib, so you can follow all 8 instead of the 4. No one among Ahl-Sunnah who has followed the methodology of Ahl-Sunnah has ever accepted that. That is deceit. And if you read the article, you will know it for sure. That is straight deceit. And the books of the scholars of Azhar and the curriculum of the scholars of Azhar prior to now, Azhar's curriculum is going through a real change. But if you study with the classical scholars of Azhar, they don't teach outside of the 4 madhahib as valid methods to follow in its entirety. Not meaning talking about particular cases and mentioning what other madhahib said. We're talking about following, giving court verdicts, making fatwa by them, and legal rulings. By other than the 4, absolutely not. So that's something that needs to be clarified, because people are promoting that and deceiving people. So you can follow, it ain't just 4, you follow all these madhabs. This is not true at all. Now,
if one studies the intellectual legacy of these men under scholars who have a working familiarity with it, it is not difficult to see why. As for those who decry hidebound conservatism and would open the gate of ijtihad for themselves while lacking or possibly not even knowing the necessary qualifications, if such people have not studied the rulings of a particular school and the relation between these rulings, the Quranic and Hadith primary text, and the school's methodological principles, they do not know how ijtihad works from an observer's standpoint, let alone how to employ it.
Here, and that's just the thing. So you have these people saying, I follow Quran and Sunnah, which is actually claiming ijtihad. That means that you're going to deduce Quran and Sunnah from yourself. I don't follow Malik. I don't follow Abu Hanif. I don't follow none of the schools. I'm going to do Quran and Sunnah myself. So that means you have the qualifications of ijtihad. And in reality, sometimes they don't even know the qualifications, let alone how to employ them. Because knowing something and how to do it is a whole nother story. So if one doesn't know it, how is it possible that you're going to do it? And this is something, and that's why we gave an indication of when we talked about the qualifications, some of the qualifications of a mujtahid scholar. And obviously we see that people don't have those qualifications. And that's why the majority of the Muslims and the scholars have followed the four schools, inshallah. Now,
To ask them, for example, which of two equally authenticated primary texts that
this
conflict
is
on
something nice. I want you to pay attention to this example. It's a beautiful example that the translator gave. I want you to pay attention to this. Now, go ahead.
which of two equally authenticated primary texts that conflict on a legal question should be given precedence, and why is like asking an aspiring drafting student for the particulars of designing a suspension bridge.
Look at that, is so beautiful. If you ask such a person, there are two equally authentic, they're both sahih, primary texts, say like hadith, two sahih hadith, right? But they have difference on a legal opinion. This legal opinion, they got different rulings, right? From one hadith, you'll take one ruling, from the other, you take another ruling, right? Which one do you take and why? That's a question, right? And I saw that happen with Sheikh Samir and that Salafi person that was a graduate from the University of Medina. And when Sheikh took the same hadith he was using and showed that the hadith you using as an evidence is a proof against you, he was silenced, right? That's an example of that. And then he said, that's like asking an aspiring drafting student to give you the particulars of a suspension bridge. SubhanAllah. That's deep. I don't know a more eloquent way to put that. What do you expect a drafting student in school? And my daughter was doing drafting and, learning in school, in high school. And I know she can't tell you nothing about not as a suspension bridge. And that's deep though. I was thinking about that. I said, wow, that's heavy. That's heavy. That is a beautiful example. Or you can take a person who's a high school, artist and can draw cars and nice boats and all that, and then tell him to do the planning and development of that car and that boat and bring it to actual production, you're not going to get not even a beginner's answer. It's easier for that drafting student or that artist to do what you request him